I'm very happy to be here. This is my first time at the Lost Church, and an honor to be on the stage. I haven't been writing that much. I haven't had that much time to write for myself, so I've been. I write a lot to my best friend, and we write emails to each other, and they're not necessarily personal between us. They're just sort of us writing. So these are 2 emails. Can't sleep. Thinking too much. Making lists to try to slow the mind down a bit, alleviate the pressure kind of thing, though this list making could take all night. Seems as though there is a never-ending repository of ideas, responsibilities, obligations, dreams, promises, hopes and wishes, a fascinating onslaught of opportunities and demands, inspirations and cries for help, duties to tend to, fences to mend. All the world's hunger seems to awaken at night, and I constantly feel forced to create a banquet out of my own leftovers. There comes a time when things rush about, swirl, and crash like some convoluted cerebral tornado, when things dangle overhead just out of reach, tormenting desires to the point of obsession, when the mind fractures and drowns in its own mania and malnourishment, gurgling echoes and disappointments like mouthwash in front of the mirror called indecision. There was a once upon a time that ended so sweetly, no one ever bothered to ask, but what happened next? And next is where I feel trapped, where the night sends me when no one is near. Next is the part of the story we all try to bury under the rug when company is expected, when we're forced to smile out of politeness and each tooth becomes a prison bar, incarcerating the truth. Next is what happens when things don't quite fall into place and every second turns into an apology. I list all these things in order of significance. Prioritizing, rating, judging, assigning numerical value, quantifying the intangibles, defining and redefining what exactly next is or who next is. And it occurs to me right before the first bird begins to whistle that I've spent the better part of the evening wasting time. Manifesting a monkey on top of another monkey on top of the one already firmly attached to my back. And for what purpose? Is the act of writing things down a desperate attempt to create some metaphysical roadmap, something one can hope to navigate with so that they may one day find their way back home? Or is it some inverse allegory in of itself, the writer driving the mind to the edge of its map each night so that they may see more clearly how far they still need to go? Could it be as simple as a vain attempt to thwart entropy, the unraveling of sanity? Or maybe it's just a paltry excuse to brave so closely to deification, to view oneself as having known something worth indelibility. Maybe we all should just let go of searching for answers and figure out how to not be so damn curious. Maybe I need to close my eyes and pray that insistent bully called time will one day leave me alone and allow me to sleep. And maybe I'm sharing all this with you because I like you. And without you here to stop me from rambling on and on with your own beautiful insights and commentary, this is what happens. And then this is the other email. I'm sitting here once again in the only lit and empty room of a building where many people are appropriately fast asleep. It's my friend's 33rd birthday celebration at a lighthouse/hostel in Montara, California. I'm 37 years old. The party has died long ago. It's 4:03 in the morning. I'm writing. I might as well be 10. 8, 6 even. I was never one for falling asleep. I have always been amazed at how people can let go, dream, and awaken, how they can let all the festivities and possibilities soften and dim, dispense with the day and enter repose so easily. In a couple of hours, the first one will stir. They will say hello to me. The voices exchanged will jostle another out of slumber, and they will join us. Someone will ask what time it is, and I will answer without looking at a clock, and one by one, life will gain momentum and drag me back in. I've lived this tale so many times before. It started when I was just a young boy, learning that I was different, that while most of the world operated under the guise of normal and well-adjusted, I was dealing with something called insomnia, which is just a fancy nocturnal word for my life doesn't quite make sense, so I'm going to think about it until the sun rises. The affliction defined most of my childhood, pre-adolescent, adolescent, and early adult existence. I had very little to do with the waking world. It all appeared to me as one big, continuous strand of night. Memories, past, the assorted yesterdays of my life felt so near, so effortless to recall, and to this day still does. All of my experiences, they've yet had proper time to fade. So few new dreams separate their boundaries. So little has been demarcated and presented as individual, as privatized and held captive within the rigid walls of 24 sequential hours. I write to you as someone who has never grown up, who reads, who paces, who stares at walls, clocks, and mirrors, who listens in the wind, others breathing, cars and sirens, as someone who is afraid of closing their eyes, of what might come next, the passing of minutes, haunted sheep-like minutes hopping over fence of inexhaustible patience. I've lived the same amount of waking hours as a man in his mid to late 50s. But emotionally, I'm still that boy in his first sleepover party, wondering why everyone is sound asleep, and he can't seem to follow, can't seem to get it, and move on. I can't move on. I can't let go. I can't pretend it doesn't matter and allow myself to drift into the obscurity of daylight, allow for so much to transpire without my vigilant watch, without my observant eye to hold record, without my voyeurism to find satiation, even if all I'll witness is my own life becoming unraveled second by insignificant second. I turn to you, my love, my quill and parchment, my devoted other self as compatriot, as accessory in this plot to overthrow time. I call upon your mutually infirm soul tonight, so that I may find peace, so that we might not feel this alone. Alone. You are my lighthouse, my heart's friend, my set of eyes when I must give mine rest. The shore I have yet to walk upon and call home, but know its call. I am awake with you, and even if I fail to dream before dawn, you are with me.